quality services to our communities. The issue of underspending is quite an important issue, particularly when it comes to spending on infrastructure allocations, such as housing, education, water, and roads. This is of great concern. I actually often characterize it as treason against the people of South Africa when monies that have been allocated are not spent and returned back to Treasury. Inadequate or slow capital expenditure by municipalities and provinces has in many ways hampered the delivery of the services that are due to our people. This results in problems like delays in housing delivery, stalled infrastructure projects such as schools, water, as well as sanitation, and waste management infrastructure projects. It also erodes public trust in the state's ability to improve the livelihood of our citizens and exacerbates service delivery protests. The inability of many municipalities to spend their capital budget is often the result of poor management, poor planning, and weak implementation capacity, and inadequate financial and supply chain management. National government itself continues to engage directly with provinces and our municipalities to demonstrate persistent underspending that it is not acceptable. Key interventions that we often embark upon include budget monitoring forums that are coordinated by the National Treasury to track in-year spending and detect low expenditure patterns at an early stage through Section 154, supporting the interventions that the Department of Cooperative Governance is able to embark upon, which enables it to work closely with municipalities, is able to strengthen institutional as well as financial capacity in our municipalities. Capacity building programs are organized through the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent to address skills shortages, especially the planning and engineering, as well as project management part of it. Cabinet has also appointed an interministerial committee on municipal turnaround, which is hard at work to support distressed municipalities around our country. One of the strategic priorities of this administration is to build capable and a developmental state. Among other things, this in the end involves strengthening intergovernmental coordination and accountability and introducing what we would call an early warning system, and the ability of Operation Vulindlela in implementing the reforms that we are embarking upon is to enable it to strengthen local government. Now, dedicated working groups have been established, particularly at eThekwini as well as Johannesburg. These working groups are supporting both metros to address challenges with a number of areas of their responsibilities, particularly in water and electricity infrastructure. Finally, the Metro Trading Services Reform Program has been initiated by National Treasury to support the implementation of institutional and financing reforms to increase investment in infrastructure. And this is an innovative initiative that is going to see great changes being introduced. These measures will help to address the root causes of underspending and ensure that infrastructure is maintained and expanded to improve service delivery. This is something that the seventh administration is focusing on very, very strongly, and we are hoping that as time goes on, we will be able to see really good results as we reform and restructure our municipalities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable President. Before we move on to the first follow-up question, I would also like to recognize the presence of the Honourable S.K. Mashilo, who is the Acting Premier of Mpumalanga Province. We welcome you to the House. The first follow-up question will come from the Honourable Moimang.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Greetings to yourself and also the President and honourable members. Thank you, Honourable President, for indeed communicating to our public that there is a commitment on the part of government to infuse a great sense of urgency and determination to ensure that indeed provinces and municipalities develop the institutional capacity to adequately utilize the funds allocated to them and fulfill the overarching aim of improving the lives of our communities by providing access to quality services. Now, my question, Honourable President, is whether the government has put in place mechanism to ensure consequence management for failure to spend allocated resources to address service delivery, particularly those concerning the provision of critical services like health care, infrastructure development such as houses and roads. Thank you, Honourable President. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Moimang. Honourable President, your response, please.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. One of the issues that the Auditor General has highlighted very strongly is the issue of lack of consequence management when either officials, including politicians, and structures of government are unable to meet their obligations. She is absolutely right when it comes to that, and it is a matter that we are addressing, particularly so as we now move towards professionalizing the public service. Because in the end, it is in part the public service that executes government programs, that executes our plans, but that does not absolve elected officials or elected representatives. So all of us need to have a sense that there should be consequence management if we don't do our work. And there should be follow-through if we are not performing at the level that our citizens expect us to perform. It is a matter that we are addressing in great detail as we professionalize the public service and as we insist that even elected representatives should be accountable, should be responsible for the performance of the duties that they are expected to execute. So it is a matter that is receiving close attention in the 7th administration, and we are going to move ahead with precisely that. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable President. We now move to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Dr. Sriokoko.
Thank you, Deputy. In light of the fact that billions of rands are owned by provincial departments to municipalities, as confirmed in a recent response by the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. This mounting intergovernmental debt severely undermines service delivery at local level. It cripples municipal budgets, contributes to the underspending of infrastructure such as housing, schools and roads, and exacerbates the systematic collapse in basic service provision. Now, President, given that this failure directly contradicts the objectives of coherent and accountable government, should the Minister, Hlabisa, not urgently consider invoking a Section 101A of the Constitution to issue directives to defaulting provinces, as my own, as a form of consequence management And this would then ensure that the persistent non-payment is directly addressed and all spheres of government uphold their obligation to support effective service delivery under the 7th administration. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable President, your response, please.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Member, embedded in your question is the answer. It is the answer because it is one of those measures that we need to employ as set out in our Constitution to enhance accountability, to enhance a sense of responsibility by all members, whether elected or appointed. And therefore, even structures of government that do not live up to cooperating well as envisaged in our Constitution with regard to intergovernmental cooperation or collaboration should be subjected to a measure of discipline, if you like, but also accountability. So yes, I would agree with you, it is one of the measures. There are a number of other measures that can be embarked upon, and some of those are also embedded in our Constitution. Section 154, as I referred to, enables us as national government to play a supportive role to assist local government, including all levels of government, to perform the duties that they are meant to perform. So I thank you for giving a very good answer in your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable President. Honourable members, Honourable President, also I'd like to welcome in the House the Honourable Mackenzie, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, who came in very quietly and just seated himself there. Sorry, I didn't recognize you earlier, Honourable Minister, but thank you for joining us today. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Makasini.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. The local government is instrumental in providing the communities with essential services. Inappropriate spending, underspending of the grant, therefore, has a great impact in the sphere of local government. And delayed complete infrastructure project at the aim of improving service delivery to the communities, such as access water, sanitation, housing, and public transport. After years of service delivery failure, it is also concerning to note that how the problem faced by various provinces, it also inadequate spending, underspending, but also on issue of corruption. A case in point is on Pugwana municipality in Northern Cape, where the officials have been arrested for money laundering, fraud, as well as a Salt Blight municipality, where there is a multi-rand saga in Kimball Mental Hospital. In light of this, what is the step that the President is to take to engage municipalities and such provinces pertaining the scourge of corruption that denies our people service delivery, and what concrete timelines and measurable outcomes has the President to address to and make sure this thing doesn't happen again? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Makasini. Honourable President, your response, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. I should say that you may not have noticed Minister Mackenzie coming in and you think he came in quietly. He never moves quietly. And I did notice him right when I came in and I asked, "What are you doing here?" And he loudly said, "I'm a visitor." So he has come to visit. Honourable Chairperson, yes, I should say that the concerns that are voiced by Honourable Member Makasini are concerns that we are alive to. The issues of underspending and misspending, as well as corruption that continues to take place in a number of areas of our government. The case that she cites, we are aware of, but what we should also say that one of the ways of consequence management is precisely what she has cited, that there have been investigations, there have been arrests of those people who've been involved in corrupt activities. This is precisely what we want to see happening, that those who perpetrate acts of either misspending or mismanaging or even stealing money from our people, there should be follow-ups. There should be consequence management. That is the way in which consequences visit the acts, the wrong acts that people commit against our people. And therefore, it is a process that is now gathering momentum so that those who participate in acts like this should know that there's no place to hide, that their acts will be followed up by investigations, and if there is wrongdoing, where they have stolen or misspent money of our people, there will be consequences. Now, this is one of the consequence management processes that we are talking about, to clean up and to ensure that we strengthen and increase the capacity of the state, so that the state is able to deliver services to our people in a very honest and direct manner, so that we can improve the livelihoods of all our people. So we will continue with that whole process, and where there is wrongdoing, we want to see follow-ups and consequence management. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable President. The next follow-up question is from the Honorable Mokoena.
Thank you, Chairperson. President, over and above the challenge of underspending, in the last financial year, the AG has found that 86% of municipalities had material compliance findings, which shows lack of adherence to basic principles of legislation. My question to you today is, when are we going to hold municipal managers and mayors personally accountable by opening criminal cases against them for having funds in their coffers that they never use to assist our municipalities? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mokoena. Honorable President, your response.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Member Mokoena. Yes, it is a matter that we are paying attention to. As we talk about the professionalization of the public service, which should and which will cover positions of people like municipal mayors, municipal managers rather, and will also include elected officials, such as those who are appointed to positions either of mayor or other key positions, that where they get involved in wrongdoing, and wrongdoing should span across a number of activities that do not advance the interests of our people, such as either corrupt activities, stealing money, or even mismanagement. That in itself should constitute as an affront to our people. And when it comes, for instance, to where we do not spend money which has been allocated, I have characterized that as treasonous against our people, because our people, as they elect us, they expect us to do the work that we've been delegated and elected and mandated to do. And when, without any cause or good reason, we do not spend the money that has been allocated to them, that militates directly against their interests, and it should be seen as something that is almost like a crime against our people. So we need to have that in mind, and it needs to be something that we fear to do, we fear to get involved in, because we are in our positions acting on behalf of our people. So consequence management, therefore, has to be upscaled. And we have, I admit, been talking about consequence management for the longest time, but we now need to put it into top gear, where we actually demonstrate that when you violate integrity provisions or principles, where you don't act in accordance with what you're expected to act, there will be consequence management. So we will be upscaling that and making sure that indeed those who are put in those positions are able to live up to the expectations that our people want. Thank you, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Honourable President. We now move on to the next set of questions, and that the question was asked by Honourable Pinar, and the question was whether, with reference to the recent visit to the United States, he now concedes that to attract more international investments, the Government of National Unity has to rework the broad-based black economic empowerment policies to make them more effective and inclusive to stimulate economic growth and job creation. If not, what is the position in this regard? If so, what are the relevant details? Honourable President, your response.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. I would have thought that we would not be making any reference to our visit to the United States. But be that as it may, I'm rather pleased that the lights here have not been dimmed, because any act of dimming lights continues to worry me. But our visit to the United States did not focus on issues of black economic empowerment. It focused on our resetting the relationship with the United States and of ensuring that we continue open conversations with our major trading partners, and our commitment to black economic empowerment, as expressed through various policy documents and statements, remains steadfast. At a broader level, through the statement of intent, which was signed to by various parties as part of the Government of National Unity, we are committed to translate the values of our Constitution into focus, particularly with regard to the achievement of social justice, of redress and equity. That is what we all signed up for when we entered into the Government of National Unity. The Bill of Rights of our Constitution, under the Equality Clause, states very clearly that equality, which is about ensuring that we redress the past, the misdeeds of the past, includes the full and equal enjoyment of all rights and freedoms. To promote the achievement of equality, there are a number of measures that the Equality Clause calls on us to embark on. Some of those are legislative measures, should be designed to protect or advance persons or categories of persons that were disadvantaged by unfair discrimination, and that these are measures that may be taken. Now, this anchors our commitment to legislation and policies that advance the economic transformation of our country and increase the participation of those who were previously disadvantaged from the mainstream of the economy. I can think of no other way in which all that can be done effectively and properly. So therefore, measures such as the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Act remain a fundamental lever for transformation as part of our broader strategy to achieve more rapid as well as inclusive and sustainable economic growth in our country. As I've said before, we must dispense with the false notion that we must make a choice between transformation and growth. Black economic empowerment is not only compatible with investment and growth, but is essential to the achievement of broad-based growth as well as prosperity. It must be seen as a process through which we take measures, direct measures to bring those who were excluded from economic activity into the economic mainstream. And to think that it will happen on its own when in the past measures were taken, including laws were passed to ensure that only a minority benefits, we would be deceiving ourselves. We must therefore be very clear and direct and make sure that this objective of achieving equality does happen. Because if we don't do so, it will not happen. So therefore, we need to take demonstrable steps to make sure that there is clear movement, and clear movement that will be seen and appreciated and owned by our people. However, despite the progress that has been made across a range of measures, we can do better. As with any other policy, we must constantly assess whether we are achieving our goals and whether we are making the improvements that we wanted. And various departments in our government, including the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, are continuing to review the various measures that are in place to align these with priorities of our government and ensuring that we have industrialization, inclusive growth, and also ensuring that we facilitate access to finance for emerging Black-owned and managed enterprises. This should be seen as a national project. It should never be seen as a project that belongs to just a few amongst us. All of us must be involved in this, including those who benefited under the previous system. They must be seen to be actively involved in advancing the interests of all, because failing to do so could lead to lack of growth in our economy. It could lead to reversals. So all hands, black and white, must be on deck to promote transformation in our country, to enable all South Africans to play a role in the economy of their country. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.